In the United States, the system operates on what can be called a risk assessment approach. This means a food additive or practice is generally considered safe and is allowed to be used unless government authorities can definitively prove that it causes harm. However, in the European Union, if there is a scientific possibility that a substance might have a dangerous effect, even if the risk can't be completely proven with certainty, it should be avoided or banned. So, this video is directly concerned with your health. So let's dive into the 9 Walmart foods that are banned in Europe, but not in the US. 1. Brominated vegetable oil. The first item on this list is a substance you might not know by name, but you've likely consumed it if you've ever had a citrus-flavored sports drink or soda. Brominated vegetable oil, often referred to by its short-form name, BVO, is a complex mixture of plant-derived fats that have been modified with the chemical element bromine. Its job in a drink is to act as an emulsifier, which is a fancy word for a stabilizer. It helps to keep the citrus flavorings from separating and floating to the top of the beverage, ensuring the product looks and tastes the same every time you pour it. For decades, BVO was designated as generally recognized as safe by the United States Food and Drug Administration, or FDA. However, in 1970, the FDA withdrew that status and began regulating its use, limiting its concentration to 15 parts per million. The European Union and Japan, for their part, have had a complete ban on the additive for years. Their reasoning stemmed from scientific research, linking the substance to nervous system issues and a rare but serious condition called bromism, which can cause memory loss, headaches, and a lack of muscle coordination. One case report from a medical journal detailed the story of a man who drank 2 to 4 liters of BVO containing soda every day and experienced a wide range of symptoms, from fatigue and tremors to memory loss and the inability to walk. This example is a perfect illustration of how market forces can create change even without a government mandate. While the FDA was slow to act on BVO, major companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola, under significant public pressure and growing consumer demand for clean labels, announced years ago that they would remove the ingredient from popular drinks like Gatorade, Powerade, and Fanta. 2. Potassium bromate. This additive is a bread improver that gives American loaves their fluffy texture and brilliant white color. Potassium bromate is a powerful oxidizing agent that strengthens the gluten structure in bread dough. This allows the dough to rise higher and more efficiently, yielding a lighter, fluffier texture and a larger overall volume. It also helps cut down on baking time and gives the final product a pristine white color. You can find it in a surprising number of baked goods in the United States, including rolls, bagel chips, and even breadcrumbs. The European Union, along with countries like Canada, Peru, China, and India, has completely banned potassium bromate. This ban is rooted in concerns that the substance is a suspected human carcinogen. In animal studies, the ingredient has been shown to cause kidney and thyroid tumors in rodents that were given significant doses. The United States FDA, however, takes a different view. The agency acknowledges the potential for harm, but argues that when potassium bromate is used at a low enough level, and the baked goods are properly heated, the substance converts into a harmless compound. The FDA has established and enforces a safe level of use, no more than 0.0075 parts for every 100 parts by weight of flour, with a maximum residue limit of 20 parts per billion in the final product. The FDA's position is a classic example of the risk assessment philosophy in action. The EU sees the potential for danger and says no, while the US assesses the risk and determines that the small amount remaining after baking is not a significant threat. 3. Azotocarbonamide. You might know this chemical by its more famous nickname, the yoga mat chemical, because of its use in foamed plastics. Azotocarbonamide, or ADA, is an odorless crystalline powder that is widely used in the United States as a flour bleaching agent and dough conditioner. It oxidizes the dough, making it stronger and more cohesive, which leads to a higher loaf volume and a better texture. In the European Union and Australia, ADA is banned as a food additive due to safety concerns. The World Health Organization has linked exposure to azodicarbonamide in factory settings to respiratory issues, allergies, and asthma in workers. The ban is also motivated by concerns over two of the chemical's breakdown products, semicarbazide and urethane, which have been shown to cause cancer in mice. Despite these issues, the FDA has considered ADA, generally recognized as safe, since 1962 and allows its use in bread at levels up to 45 parts per million. This is yet another example of the US and EU using different standards, but it's also a powerful demonstration of how consumers can force change. Although the FDA still considers the substance safe, many large American companies, including Subway and Wendy's, voluntarily removed azodicarbonamide from their food products in response to a public outcry and negative publicity. 4. Certain artificial food dyes. Many of the foods we eat are not naturally as bright and colorful as they appear on the shelf. This is often thanks to synthetic food dyes. These additives are made from petroleum and are found in almost 24,000 different products in the United States. The most common ones, like Red 40, Yellow 5, and Yellow 6, are used in everything from candy and soft drinks to surprisingly unexpected items, like pickles, instant oatmeal, and even smoked salmon. Europe has taken a different stance on these dyes. While they are not completely banned, the European Union requires a mandatory warning label on products containing certain dyes. This label must clearly state that the dyes may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Many European countries have gone even further, with some products containing these dyes being completely outlawed. The FDA in the United States, however, has consistently held that there is no conclusive evidence that food coloring causes attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Yet this stance has been the subject of a long-standing debate. While the overall effect might be small, research has suggested a clear association between the consumption of these dyes and an increase in hyperactivity in a subset of sensitive children. This is a prime example of the U.S. system slowly and reactively evolving. While the FDA has not banned most of these dyes, it recently did ban red dye number 3 and has urged companies to voluntarily phase out others. 5. The preservatives BHA and BHT, BHA and BHT, or butylated hydroxyanisole and butylated hydroxytoluene, are synthetic antioxidants used as preservatives. Their job is to keep fats and oils in food from going rancid. This significantly extends the shelf life of processed foods like potato chips, cereals, baked goods, and snack cakes. In Europe, the use of BHA and BHT is restricted or banned. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies BHA as a possible human carcinogen, and the European Commission on Endocrine Disruption has flagged it as a priority substance because it may interfere with hormone function. Long-term exposure to high doses of BHT has also been shown to cause liver, thyroid, and kidney problems in animal studies. In the United States, the FDA has labeled both BHA and BHT as generally recognized as safe for use in food products within specific limits. The American approach is to determine a safe level of consumption based on a risk assessment, and they have concluded that the small amounts used in food do not pose a health risk. 6. Ractopamine in meat. Ractopamine is a drug given to pigs, cattle, and turkeys in the United States to promote lean muscle growth and improve feed efficiency. It is estimated to be used in the feed of 80% of all beef, swine, and poultry raised in the country. The drug helps livestock put on muscle instead of fat, which increases the meat yield for the producer. The European Union and China have a zero-tolerance policy for ractopamine and have banned its use completely. The ban is based on a number of concerns, including potential human health risks. A study on a small group of human subjects found that higher doses of the drug could cause an increased heart rate and muscle tremors. However, a major part of the European ban is rooted in concerns about animal welfare. The drug can cause restlessness, agitation, and excessive movement in pigs. The FDA in the United States has approved the use of ractopamine, concluding that meat from treated animals is safe for human consumption because the drug is rapidly cleared from the muscle. But the drug can accumulate and persist for longer in certain organs, like the liver and kidneys, which are not typically eaten in the US but are consumed in other cultures. Chlorinated chicken. In the United States, chicken is sometimes rinsed in a diluted chlorine wash at the end of the production process. This is done to kill harmful bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli. It is one of many tools used by the American meat industry to ensure food safety. The European Union banned this practice in 1997. The ban is a great example of a deeper philosophical difference that isn't just about the final product. The European Food Safety Authority has even confirmed that the final product is safe to eat and does not contain chlorine residue. The ban is actually based on the belief that relying on a chemical wash at the end of the line encourages producers to have lower hygiene and animal welfare standards earlier in the process. The EU's position is that maintaining high hygiene standards from farm to fork should be the primary method for ensuring safety, not relying on a shortcut at the end. 8. Recombinant bovine growth hormone, RBGH. In dairy, recombinant bovine growth hormone, or RBGH, is a genetically engineered hormone that is injected into dairy cows to increase milk production by 10 to 15%. It works by increasing the levels of another hormone called insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1, which stimulates milk production. The European Union has had a ban on RBGH since 1990. The FDA in the United States approved RBGH in 1993, after concluding that the hormone is a large protein that is broken down in the human digestive system and therefore poses no threat. The FDA and many other health organizations have confirmed the safety of milk from cows treated with RBGH. However, this is another instance where public opinion has influenced the market more than government regulation. Many large grocery store chains and dairy brands in the US have voluntarily phased out the use of RBGH and now label their products RBGH-free, demonstrating that consumers are willing to pay for products they believe are safer or more ethically produced. 9. The fat substitute. Olestra is a zero-calorie fat substitute that was once a common ingredient in snack chips. It was created to provide the rich, satisfying mouthfeel of fat without any of the calories because the human body cannot digest or absorb it. It was once used in products like Lay's Light Chips and Pringles Light Chips. Olestra is banned in Europe due to its well-documented and unpleasant side effects. A number of studies and anecdotal reports have shown that consuming Olestra can lead to gastrointestinal distress, including abdominal cramps, diarrhea, and a condition charmingly referred to as anal leakage. Another serious concern is that Olestra can reduce the body's ability to absorb essential fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, as well as carotenoids from fruits and vegetables. The FDA approved Olestra in the United States, but only after weighing the evidence and concluding that the side effects were mild and transient, meaning they were temporary and not a serious health risk. The FDA also required manufacturers to add vitamins back into the product to mitigate the malabsorption issue. This final example is a clear illustration of the philosophical divide in action. The EU, following its precautionary principle, saw a substance with known, albeit unpleasant, side effects and banned it. The US, using its risk assessment approach, determined that those side effects were not severe enough to warrant a ban. The market has also spoken on this issue. While the ingredient is still technically approved for use, it has largely been phased out of popular American products because consumers simply did not want to deal with the side effects. And these are the 9 Walmart foods that are banned in Europe, but not in the US. So, if you find this video valuable and helpful, then do share this video with your friends, press the subscribe button, and click on the video popping right now on the screen.